Saxon Algebra Lesson 59, Solving Systems of Linear Equations by Substitution. What we are going to be doing in this lesson is substituting an equation for either x or y to come up with a ordered pair. Now, our answer, the ordered pair, is the spot where these two lines actually cross. There are 5 different steps that we'll go through with these two equations in example 1 to get the ordered pair. Example 1, y equals 2x minus 5 and y equals 5x plus 7. Step 1, rearrange one of the equations so that it is in form y equals mx plus b or x equals my plus b. This means we have to have the equations looking like y equals or x equals, because the word substitution is the big deal. Because we have y equals, we can take this 2x minus 5 and plug it in for that y, because y equals that 2x minus 5. Because we have at least one equation that has the y equals, we can go ahead and skip step 1 and move on to step 2, which is substitute the equivalent expression for the variable from the first step into the second equation of the system. So our first equation has the y equals 2x minus 5. We can go ahead and plug that in for that y, which will look like this. 2x minus 5 equals 5x plus 7. Step 3. Solve the resulting equation from the second step. During this step, we will find x or y. Because in step 2, we substituted for y, when we solve this equation, 2x minus 5 equals 5x plus 7, we're going to be figuring out what x actually equals. By actually solving it the way we always solve equations with variables. Solve by doing opposite. Minus 2x. 2x cancels. Negative 5 comes down. 5x minus 2x is 3x. And the 7 comes down. Subtract 7. Subtract 7. 7's cancel. Negative 5 and negative 7 is negative 12. 3x comes down. Divide by 3. X equals negative 4. We found out in step 3 that x equals negative 4. So let's use that for step 4. Substitute the value in step 3 into the first equation. This will find the value of the unknown number. The first equation in example 1 is y equals 2x minus 5. We take the answer from step 3, which is x equals negative 4, and plug it into this x. So it'd be y equals 2 times negative 4 minus 5. And solve the equation to get your y. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 and negative 5 is negative 13. So y equals negative 13. Now that we have x equals negative 4 and y equals negative 13, we can finish the equation by doing the very last step, which is create your ordered pair. X is negative 4, y is negative 13. Remember, an ordered pair, x is always first and y is always second. And that is your final answer. That ordered pair that we use substitution to find is the spot where these two lines actually cross each other. Let's move on to example 2. Example 2, 12x minus 6y equals 12. X equals negative 2y plus 11. In this example, we always start with step 1. It was rearrange one of the equations so that it is in form y equals or x equals. So we look at the two equations given. Does one of them equal y equals or x equals? It does, right here. X equals negative 2y plus 11, which means we can skip step 1 and move on to step 2, where we take that equation and we plug it in for x. Remember, this says x equals, not y equals. Because it says x equals, that means we have to plug it in for x. And it'll look like this. 12 negative 2y plus 11 minus 6y equals 12. And of course, we solve it just like any other equations we've learned that we've done before. Distributive property comes first. 12 times negative 2 is negative 24y. 12 times 11 is a positive 132. The 6y comes down equals 12. Then we combine like terms, which is negative 24y, negative 6y, and we combine them because they both have one y. Negative 24 and negative 6 make negative 30y. The 132 comes down, and the 12 comes down. Minus 132 minus 132. That cancels. The negative 30 comes down, equals a negative 120. Now I will divide by negative 30. That negative 30 will cancel, and divide by negative 30. Y will equal positive 4. And now we can move on to step 4. In step 4, we take the answer we found out in step 3 and we plug it into the very first equation. We found out that y equals 4, so we're going to plug that into the very first equation, which is 12x minus 6y equals 12. It would look like this. 12x minus 6, we know our y equals 4, so we're going to plug that in or substitute that in, equals 12. Now we solve this equation. 6 times 4 is negative 24. And everything is brought down. Add 24. Add 24. 24's cancel. 12x is brought down, equals 12 plus 24, which is 36. Divide by 12. X equals 3. X equals 3. And our very last step is get the ordered pair. X always goes first. So it'd be 3, 4. And this is our final answer. Example 3. 2x plus y equals negative 4. 5x minus 2y equals a negative 1. If you take a look at these two equations, do we have an y equals or an x equals, where the y or the x are by themselves? We don't. So we have to do the first step here. We have to get the equation to be y equals mx plus b, or x equals my plus b. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the very first equation, which is 2x plus y equals negative 4. I'm going to get this y equals. To get this y equals, I need to move the 2x over to the other side. And of course, we do that by doing opposite. It's a positive 2x, so we subtract it. The y now is by itself. Y equals a negative 4 minus 2x. And now we're able to go ahead and substitute, because it's y equals, we can substitute the negative 4 minus 2 into y. So our equation would look like this. 5x minus 2 times negative 4 minus 2x equals a negative 1. That's step 1 and step 2. We got our y equals and plug that in for y. Now we have to solve this equation. When we solve this equation, we solve it by doing the same rules as we've always learned. Distributive property, combine like terms, and solve. Distributive properties first. Negative 2 times negative 2x is a positive 4x. Negative 2 times a negative 4 is a positive 8. The 5x comes down, and the negative 1 comes down. Combine terms. We can add the 5x and the 4x because they both have 1x, which will equal 9x. Plus 8 equals negative 1 and negative 8 is negative 9. Divided by 9. X equals a negative 1. Now that we know what x equals, we take that and plug it into the very first equation. All right? So we found out that x equals negative 1, and as I said before, we plug that into the very first equation, which is y equals negative 2x minus 4. Y equals negative 2 times negative 1 minus 4. Negative 2 times a negative 1 will equal a positive 2. A positive 2 minus 4 will equal a negative 2. So y equals a negative 2. Then, of course, our last step is put it into an ordered pair. X always goes first in the ordered pair. So be negative 1, negative 2, and that is the spot where those two lines cross. If you guys have any questions, please come find me.